Welcome back to the channel, guys. So I had a completely different video planned, had the script written, crumpled it up, threw it away because somebody left a comment on my "Did Euron Greyjoy actually go to Valyria?" video. I made a comment that he could have found some of these Valyrian Steel items just in the universe. They disagreed with me, and I thought, you know what? Valyrian Steel items, much more interesting than the what if Jon Snow bent the knee to Stannis when he offered him legitimacy and Winterfell. So I scrapped that, and here we are. We're going to talk about every Valyrian Steel weapon, piece of armor that's canon, a few that are rumored, and then a theory that I found in passing, I believe, on Facebook. So we're going to get into this. We all know what Valyrian Steel is at this point. Like, forged in dragon flame, cooled in blood, sharper than any mortal blade. We all know what it is. If you have a Valyrian Steel weapon, it is more than just a weapon. It is, if you're a house that has a Valyrian Steel anything, that is your crown jewel, your claim to fame. And if you're like the Lannisters who no longer have one, you will stop at nothing to try to acquire one. So we're going to dive into every known Valyrian Steel weapon, every piece of armor during the time of the books and the TV show, who owned them, the history of the houses behind them, and some that were lost. So we're just going to go in, I want to say in order, but it's kind of a weird one. So we're going to start with Ice from House Stark. It was a massive great sword, nearly as tall as a man, carried by the Lords of Winterfell for over 400 years. It was the bee's knees. We all know that they lost it when Ned was, beheaded. Which then leads us to Lannisters finding someone that could rework Valyrian Steel, which Valyrian Steel isn't made, but people can still rework it. They turned the gigantic greatsword Ice into Oathkeeper and Widow's Wail. Oathkeeper was given to Jaime. Jaime gave it to Brienne of Tarth. And yes, so the Lannisters, we might as well get into there. So they are one of the richest houses in Westeros, and they once had their own Valyrian Steel sword, Bright Roar. But it was lost centuries ago. I'll get into that later in the video. And Tywin has been trying to replace it ever since. When he got Ice, he thought, alright, now we got two, so we're good to go. Jaime gifted it, Oathkeeper, to Brienne as to keep his oath. To keep his oath for, I believe it was Catelyn Stark. He couldn't do it anymore, so he gave it to Brienne to carry it on. And now I guess House Tarth has a Valyrian Steel sword, if that makes sense. In a roundabout way, they just upped their aura. Widow's Wail was given to Joffrey. It was given to him as a wedding present. He named it because he's an asshole. It is what it is. After Joffrey's death, it was passed on to Tommen, and to be honest, I might do an update short or something. I'm drawing a blank on who it was passed to after old boy, took a header. It was a Baratheon sword, so I just realized that Tywin made two swords for his family, only for both to not really be Lannister swords anymore. So it was given to Joffrey Baratheon, then given to Tommen Baratheon. So who would be the next in line to have a Baratheon Valyrian Steel sword? I don't know, but I guess that's a video for another day. So now I just realized, they don't have any swords anymore. We're moving to Longclaw, which was House Mormont, and then, what was it? Jeor Mormont gave it to Jon. It was an ancient longsword, came from Bear Island. How the Mormonts got a Valyrian Steel sword, even though they're a house that lives on an island in the middle of nowhere in the north. Okay. Jeor Mormont gifted it to Jon Snow, changed the pommel from a bear to a dire wolf. Here you go. So now the Starks have a Valyrian Steel sword again. We've got Heartsbane, which was House Tarly, which is another weird one because it was an enormous great sword, said to be over 500 years old. House Tarly, a little backstory on them. Bannermen of House Tyrell, ruling from Hornhill. They're famed for... Basically, Randall Tarly was military commander, like S tier. In the show, Sam gives Heartsbane to... Oh my, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Mormont from Bear Island. So Bear Island and House Mormont gave one away only to receive another one. Which is exactly what, basically... House Stark did. Then we've got Lady Forlorn, which is from House Corbray in the Vale. I actually just did a short about House Corbray today. They are an ancient Andal house famed for their role in the first Blackfire Rebellion. In the books, I believe it's Sir Lyn Corbray, which I talked about in that short, wields Lady Forlorn and is known for his temper and swordsmanship, but he's not seen in the show. Red Rain from House Drum, which is a house that I haven't heard before because I don't keep track of that side of Westeros at all, basically. Ironborn rulers of Old Wick, said to have been taken from a slain enemy in battle. That's exactly how I would assume an Ironborn house getting a Valyrian Steel sword. The Drums are an ancient seafaring family known for their skill in raiding and navigation. And this is another one that was mentioned in the books, not shown in the show. We've got Cat's Paw, which is a dagger, which is, I believe, the only dagger on the list. Small, dragonbone hilt. House Targaryen once owned it, and then Peter Baelish, Littlefinger, came upon it. Was used in the assassination attempt of Bran Stark, and in the show, Arya Stark uses it to kill the Night King, which is wild. And now we get to the missing blades. And the missing blades, we're going to start with Dark Sister, House Targaryen. House Targaryen is going to make a few appearances on this list. So it's a slim, I believe they call it like a woman-sized sword, because it was used by Visenya Targaryen and then Prince Daemon Targaryen during the Dance of the Dragons, which is like, cool, my sword now. Rumored to have been last seen in the possession of Sir Brendan Rivers, Bloodraven, who vanished beyond the wall. And another weird theory about that one is they suggested that it may actually be in the Three-Eyed Raven's cave, which, cool, interesting. We've got another Targaryen sword, Blackfire, missing. These two are missing. The crown sword of the Targaryen kings, wielded by Aegon the Conqueror. I feel like if I had a sword wielded by Aegon the Conqueror or Visenya Targaryen, I wouldn't just be letting it go out doing nonsense. So it was lost after the Blackfire rebellions because the Targaryen king gave it to one of his bastard sons, which led to all the Blackfire rebellions. The Blackfires fled to Essos. Many suspect that they started the Golden Company, and one of them somewhere still possess it. We've got Bright Roar, which is the sword that I was referring to when I said the Targaryens had one and lost it because King Tommen II Lannister is an idiot. So it was once the pride of Casterly Rock, and it was lost when King Tommen II Lannister sailed to Valyria and never returned, which is a common theme of people who try to sail to Valyria. Some tales say it lies in the smoking ruins of the Freehold, waiting to be claimed. It's probably at the bottom of the sea somewhere, if we're just going to be real about it. We've got Orphan Maker, which is not a lost sword, it is a rumored weapon. So we've got, it's mentioned in fan theories that it belonged to House Roxton in the Reach, and it's never confirmed in canon. This seems like one of those weird, like they saw something somewhere in canon, made the jump like all of the Star Wars fan fiction type things. We've got there's other rumored houses in the north that may have them, and this is where I was going to get to the conspiracy thing that went along with why I said what I said in my Euron Greyjoy video. So, many people suggest that smaller houses in the north may hold forgotten blades, where a long, long time ago, the lord or son or daughter or whatever hid the blade in the crypt or somewhere in the keep. And then basically, because personally, if I had one and I was a small house, I wouldn't really want people to know that I had it unless I was able to keep people from coming and taking it. Like I said, the Lannisters have been in the market for one since they lost Bright Roar. If the Lannisters knew a smaller house in the north had it, they would probably send someone with a bunch of gold and say, hey, do you want this for your sword? And if they said no, they'd say, okay, cool, well, we'll see you when we see you. And then they would send some random person to basically come and steal it, which is a good reason to hide it, but that was the whole reason for me saying it. If you had armor, a dagger, a normal-sized sword in your crypt, maybe a really, really cool king a long time ago was like, bury me with this sword, take it when something like, Sword of the Morning guy, his sword, they don't just get it passed down from son to father to son, father to son, father to son. It's, you have to, like, be deserving of it. And maybe someone said, hey, bury me with this sword until one of you guys deserve it or earn it, and just no one ever did, or that bloodline died out and somebody else came to power who had no idea about it. I know it's not the North, take the Vale. They had the blood of the first men, and then they were invaded. Let's say that house had a Valyrian steel sword somewhere in the basement. Let's call it the basement. The new invaders claimed the castle and went, oh, that's where they buried their dead kings? Yeah, okay, they can just stay there. I'm not going to go investigate down there. But, in my head, Euron Greyjoy could have, heard something in passing from a servant who was doing the hippity-dippity in the crypts, didn't want to get caught, saw a fancy-looking sword, it got around to Euron Greyjoy, and he decided, hey, I'm going to sail to this small house. I don't have a lot of people, but I have enough people to basically go into this keep, unalive everyone, take whatever Valyrian steel, anything I want, and dip out. Now, I know that's like a terrible, not exactly factual, more like it could happen. But in my head, if anyone was to do that, it would be Euron Greyjoy. Why so few remain? This is going to be the conclusion. Valyria is not a thing anymore. So there may have been, back when Valyria was the top dog in the entire Game of Thrones universe, not just Essos, everyone in Valyria could have had a Valyrian steel sword. It could have been the norm for swords. But seeing as how only like a few families made it out before the Doom, there's probably just a bunch of swords just like laying around and just are not accessible to anyone. So, yeah, there could be a ton, but once Valyria went down, what you had in the world is what you had in the world, and now we're just running around with this. So, that's the video. That's the video. I hope you guys find that way more enjoyable than the video that I was going to make, which I'm now probably going to make now, but this just seemed more interesting to me. A video that's factual mixed with a little bit of crazy people on Facebook and Reddit mixed with me trying to make it a little bit more normal, but I forgot the name of the person. Thank you for commenting because it inspired the whole video. So thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Peace.